Episode 7 of Season 3 of The Mandalorian, titled The Spies, finally starts to give us a real villain for this season in, hey, look at that, still Moff Gideon. And I'm so glad the season is finally getting going with only one episode remaining. And Joseph Shirley utilizes many callbacks to earlier cues to help connect character arcs and storylines in our minds. This is Star Wars Music Analysis.
Do it.
The episode begins on Coruscant, but without music initially. This was notable already because of Shirley's prominent use of the new Coruscant theme up to this point. But as we descend to the streets, the music immediately kicks in with industrial EDM, reflecting a less civilized culture. I was expecting this to lead directly to a club because that's always been the case when we get these kinds of cues, but instead we stay on the streets as Elia Kane meets with the evil probe droid. We can tell it's evil because of the evil red light. That seems like something the programmers should have considered changing before sending it off into the streets of New Republic Coruscant. But what do I know? I'm just a composer. It ends up that this probe droid allows Kane to speak directly with Moff Gideon, who is obviously not captured. As we see his figure in the hologram, we also hear his theme underneath.
Report. And make it quick, as I am short on time.
It gets louder as we see the man in real life as he walks through what can only be considered an overcompensation of security gates. The next scene was incredible though, as we see all of the commanders who have been discussed within novels such as the Aftermath series, and it was so cool to see these two worlds collide. There was no music as this summit continues, which gives it a very lifeless feeling. Thrawn begins being mentioned as well, and even as they speak his name, no music enters.
Grand Admiral Thrawn's return will herald in the re-emergence of our military.
I was curious if Shirley would go for the Thrawn theme we already have for Rebels or not, but this scene was not the moment when we would find out. As the meeting continues though, Gideon's theme does begin to enter as he gains control of the conversation. By the end, it plays fully through before jumping to the title screen.
Long live the Empire!
Long live the Empire!
We next jump to Navarro, and any friendly music from before has been replaced by this more intense underlying music as the Imperial cruiser moves over the city as people put things back.
It's a light cruiser.
You can see the fear in their faces as they see the symbol of oppression return. But then we hear Bo-Katan's theme enter, reassuring us that it's indeed the Mandalorians and not the Empire this time. It plays several more times as they travel by.
Those, my friend, are Mandalorian privateers. I'll bet you half that fleet was captured.
As they move over the Children of the Watch's encampment, the taiko drumming enters, which signifies a more tribal and warlike culture of the covert. The only thing that can break the tension of the next scene is their armorer clanking her tools together. This is so loud and resonant, and it reminds me of the Beskar anvil from Andor. Obviously, Beskar is not only a strong metal, but also has a very loud sound when struck. As far as I can tell, Beskar is most similar in properties to bronze or copper in our own galaxy for its combination of strength and resonance based on what I've seen and heard over time. I'd be curious if any of you who understand the constructs of metal better would have more thoughts on this though. And IG-11 is back, but as IG-12, and I realize this isn't music, but I loved this scene.
Maybe when he's older.
No.
What do you mean, no?
No.
Grogu going through the terrible twos while operating an assassin droid body is priceless. I think I could have watched an entire episode just of this.
Yes. 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 Yes.
This isn't working for me.
In the next scene, Bo-Katan addresses all of the Mandalorians about recapturing Mandalore. Low drones play underneath at first, but it turns into the music that we heard back in episode 2 as Din and Bo-Katan explored the ruins of Mandalore, which made me feel like this may actually be music directly attached to the planet, and perhaps we'll even hear it in a later episode or season as a bigger, grander theme as they rebuild their planet, assuming they don't all kill each other
I need
first.
volunteers from both Try.
As Din volunteers himself and Grogu, Bo's heroic theme enters. It builds as more and more volunteers that happen to be the best actors as well also volunteer. As the fleet departs, her theme takes on a new character as it's supported predominantly by major chords instead of its normal minor harmonies, giving it a more heroic and triumphant feeling. The same music returns as all of the Mandalorians reflect on the Night of 1,000 Tears as they see the devastation of Mandalore as what we heard in Episode 2 when Din and Bo see the planet in its destruction for the first time, again connecting us back to the experiences of prior episodes and further tying all of the previous side stories together into this much larger and powerful tale. Bo-Katan's theme plays into a Western vibe as the Mandalorians explore the desolate surface of the planet further, and it turns out there are others already on the planet, but the music never gets very intimidating as these new Mandalorians never offer a threat to the crew, further adding to the group instead. As Bo-Katan admits that she had surrendered, her heroic theme enters, but it's so soft that it barely is noticeable as she recounts one of her least heroic moments in surrendering to the Empire and Moff Gideon. The horn solo reflects her inner reflection and struggle.
Were annihilated in the Night of 1,000 Tears and defeat.
As Din pledges himself to Bo-Katan, his recorder motif enters, and I think in this moment, Bo-Katan is just blown away by just how noble Din Djarin is, that he represents everything that she's striving for.
These are the reasons I serve you, Lady Kryze. Your song is not...
As they continue to the Great Forge, the Mandalorian main theme enters. We used to think that this was for Din Djarin, but instead, I think that this has now become a theme of all Mandalorians, an anthem to their people and culture, which makes sense. It fits them better as being a sort of war march. As the Mandalorians fight like children over the space checkers, the music picks up, and ironically, it takes a child to stop them from fighting further. Cues from Season 1 enter as we see Grogu's innocence highlighted. After this, the music vanishes, and apart from the ship noises, the scene is void of sound, making it feel eerie. I could already tell that something bad was about to happen. It was quiet. Too quiet. The music begins to re-enter then with drones and the strings that slowly build. I thought that this was going to be the Mythosaur at first, but it seems like it's just some random giant monster that nobody seems overly fazed by or cares to mention afterwards.
We're not far. We need to go further down. Go, go, go.
The Mandalorians next run into a pack of Imperial jet troopers wearing Beskar as the music picks up again. As they press on, the Mandalorian theme fights through, overtop the frantic string lines. It stops then as the crew clearly moves into a trap and an Imperial outpost hidden on Mandalore. The music grows higher and higher as the tension of Din Djarin being captured overcomes us. That's when Moff Gideon, looking very much like Captain Phasma, drops down along with his menacing theme. It continues to flaunt itself as he flaunts his victory.
Mandalore will live on in me.
And this got incredible as Paz Vizsla sacrifices himself, taking out the entire squad of Dark Troopers. The music is intense, but never overly painful. That is, not until the Praetorian Guards enter with choir and a new theme, quickly ending Paz Vizsla and the episode. To all of those out there who have been remarking about how bad this season has been and whatnot, I can only ask now.
Are you not entertained? Are you not entertained?
Yes. 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 Yes.
And I really would love to know what you all think as well. Did this episode stand out for you? It honestly felt near perfect from beginning to end for me. The humor was actually funny, the stakes were high, the loss was painful, and exchanges between characters were real. And what do you think will happen in the final episode? Will we actually get Thrawn? And if so, will Shirley use his theme from Rebels as well? Tell me in the comments below what you think, and consider checking out my Patreon page using the link in the description, where you can help support this channel for as little as $1 a month, or download PDFs and MP3s of projects as I complete them, along with other perks at higher tiers. Please don't forget to like this video and subscribe to learn more about the music of a galaxy far, far away, and as always, may the be with you.